Good day to you, MCP people. This is my cat Blue. He does not like to be held. Do you? He doesn't. So I'm going to let him go. But I did want to talk to you about this final exam that we have coming up. This final exam is going to be a great opportunity for you to think for one last time this year about all of those fabulous Frosh-focused themes that we worked on this year. Now, I wanted to do that and also just make sure that you have a good sense of what your final exam is going to look like. So let's talk first of all about this. You will recall these posters from the rooms, from every one of your classrooms. You'll probably also recall that these terms come up every now and then, that maybe Miss Randall at some point called you very much an ethical decision maker, or maybe Mr. Burke said, "You are being a very good steward of yourself." Well, those concepts are from this profile of the grad, so that's where we're going to start. So your world geography final exam will actually focus more on those Frosh-focused themes. I want you to assess how you are doing. This is about you. How are you doing on those elements of the profile of the grad of MCP? So how are you doing on those? The first thing you're going to do this assignment then is just read through the profile. I just showed it to you. It's on the actual assignment there, so you can pull that up. So read through each of these and kind of start to ask yourself, am I being a good faith-filled student? Am I being an academic achiever, a spirited individual? Am I adding to this sort of school spirit, or am I detracting from it? On some of these, they'll just be totally obvious. On others, maybe it takes a little more thinking. What does it mean for me as a freshman in high school to be a globally responsible citizen? I have seen it from many of you freshmen. So it can be done, absolutely. Or a lifelong learner, that's a little bit maybe longer term, but hey, you've got plans to learn during the summer. That could be a part of your lifelong learning. Some of them, if you have any questions on any of them, by all means, just email me, or we can call, we can talk. On some of them, like faith-filled student, it is not necessarily asking about your level of Catholicism. So this one does talk about your relationship with God and participation in prayer in a variety of ways and environments. Do you understand and appreciate the depth of faith and make choices which are expressions of gratitude, reverence, and compassion? That is not about necessarily just a relationship with God. I would love it if it were. We can talk about it if you'd like to talk about it anytime. But this is not just about that. This is about you and your spirit. Are you in contact with some level of thankfulness and appreciation of the sort of wonders of our existence? So if you're a Catholic, awesome. How is that part of your walk going this year? If you're a Protestant, awesome. How is that part of your walk going this year? If you're another faith, if you're some other faith, or if your family doesn't really practice, how is your sort of faith life going? Academic achiever seems a little more straightforward. Not necessarily just grades though, right? Are you accepting and welcoming academic challenges? Are you exploring creative solutions and thinking critically? Are you being a spirited individual? This freshman class has tons of spirited individuals. I love them. It's great. So think through all of those. The first part of your final exam then is, for each of these, you're just going to say a couple of sentences about you. I want to hear about you. So how are you in each of these areas in maybe 2 sentences? See, read through, and in 2 sentences each, honestly assess your competency in that area right now. Now, Mrs. Randall has given us this fabulous rubric to use to assess this. So for faith-filled student, are you exploring, emerging, developing, or mastering? Where do you find yourself on this spectrum? For your academic achiever, are you self-motivated? Are you consistently on academic probation, or are you constantly engaging in class? Do you show intrinsic in motivation? So are you emerging? Are you developing? So this is a fabulous document for our use as you go through and think about each of those. So part number 1 is simply a couple sentences on each of these. Part is in more depth. in a detailed paragraph with references to specific moments, interactions, or ways you felt, or anything that happened to you this year. Try to think back. This will kind of become your own personal memory of your freshman year. It'll be on Canvas. So when you're a freshman in college, you can call me on email and say, hey, do you remember that reflection I did as a freshman? Well, would you please send it to me? I'd like to see that now. And I'll say, awesome, great to hear from you, of course. And you'll see, here's what it felt like to be a freshman in high school. Just like now, here's what it feels like to be a freshman in college. It's going to be beautiful. So in a detailed area, or detailed paragraph, with references, as we said, to your own memories, not references like we're excited or anything. I want you to think about one area where you have room to grow. So what's an area that you, of those on this list, that you really feel like, oh boy, I need to be more spirited. I went to a rally this year, but I just wasn't into it that much. Or maybe even I did the terrible thing and made fun of it with my friends. Next year, I'm going to join a club. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to be more spirited and support my school. Maybe that's it. That will be one area with a more elaborated paragraph about where you are right now, looking back on your year in reflection. And then in another paragraph with references to specific moments, interactions, ways you felt, anything that happened to you this year, reflect on one area where you are doing amazingly well. So your faith life just grew by leaps and bounds this year, or you thought you could not communicate in class, and then here you are doing mock trial, or taking speech, or standing up and giving a speech in front of your class, or speaking out in class when you weren't sure you could. What's one area where you're doing so well that you really feel like, I nailed that one. Next year, I'm going to do that one again, and then I'm going to add this other one to it. It's going to be great. We're all growing bit by bit, right? Then that, my friends, is the entirety of your final exam. When you finish this reflection, you'll turn it into Canvas, and your world geography course is complete. Now, what does that have to do with world geography? Not very much, but that's okay. We didn't know we were doing this year. And next year, when the freshmen have their Asian food party that we are missing out on this semester, you are invited. Specifically, yes, you, not, yeah. Okay, you can come too. And you, and you, and you, and adieu.